Hey everybody, I know it's kind of late, but a friend of mine, my neighbor from downstairs, brought me a huge box of food this afternoon, and I thought I'd see what I was able to do with some of this, especially things like 2 fresh pineapples that I got. Of course, with all that food, I had to find a way to fit everything in the refrigerator and the freezer, and I thought about it. I have 2 fresh pineapples. How quickly am I going to eat that stuff by myself? I mean, honestly, I don't know that it's going to happen so quickly. So I thought the best thing for me to do, what else? Dehydrate it. So tonight I'm going to dehydrate pineapple. I cut the flat part off the bottom, and I go around cutting the sides. I just have a big knife. Cut past all the pricklies because that is not the good part to eat. You know what I mean? The thing about pineapples is that sometimes it's harder to tell, is it still good for eating or is it not? You have to make your way from the outside to the inside to find out what you're dealing with. So it's important to have a good knife. I got a nice big good knife so that I can deal with this and throw all the scraps either in garbage or for compost. I don't have a compost here at home. If I have a neighbor that's interested in having some of that, I'm more than willing to share, but if not, then away it goes. Cut it so that all the sides are nice and clear. It doesn't look fancy like what you get out of a can, not with the way I do it. But, you don't have to be 100% perfect with how you're doing it if you've never cut a pineapple before. You just want to make sure you're getting all those pricklies off the outside, because that will not taste good at all. Then I'm going to slice it this way into several rings. Which is easy enough. And while slicing it, you can tell what's the condition of the inside. This center part, of course, will not be eaten. This fleshy part around here, that is what's good for eating. And it's not like I'm trying to eat it tonight. I'm trying to dehydrate it tonight, so I will have pineapple in those cold months. I cut it pretty close to the top. That's about as close as I'm willing to get to the top for that pineapple. Let me set that one aside and I will do the other one. Start again by cutting the bottom off so I have a level playing ground, so to speak. Cut that right off. And then working my way around all the sides to get all of this outer part off so that I can get down to the fleshy inside, which is what we really want to keep. And with a little practice, even if you've never done this before, it becomes pretty easy. As long as you have a decent knife, a decent sized knife with a good blade, it's very much worth the while. Now, part of this on the inside is not so great. So I'll finish cutting all the way around the pineapple, and then I will have to cut out the part of it that's not so good, so that you're just left with the good part to dehydrate. But like I said before, you know, that's one thing about pineapples. You don't really know always what you have on the inside. I'm not the pineapple expert, so I can't just look at a pineapple from the outside and tell you how it is. It's just like some people say they know about a watermelon by looking at the outside. I don't know about a watermelon by looking at the outside. I have to actually pick it up and thump it with my fingers, and I listen for the sound, the echo and the sound, and that's how I can tell that it's something that I would like to eat. I'm almost done working my way around this pineapple. A lot of work, but it's worth it. Definitely worth it. And I don't make a fuss over any meat that gets lost in it, because you can't eat this other part. It is not going to be very pleasing to eat. So now I can work on my slices. Then I have to cut around the inside, the center portion, to make sure that we don't have any part that's bad, because you don't want to eat that. That's my slicing there. And you know what? I think I need a different knife. So I'm going to put down the big knife and use a little butter knife just to be able to cut around this hard center core. You could also use a spoon. Spoons would work well too. But the point is to cut the hard part out, because you're not going to be able to eat it anyway. You just want to preserve the part that's really good for eating. So I cut that, pull that piece out, and it broke into some bits, which is fine, because what I'm going to do anyway is dehydrate. And so I'll want to break my pineapple pieces into smaller bits and scatter them on the layers of the dehydrator. And so you can see what I'm working with. And so I'll continue doing this for all of the pineapple that I've cut up, which this is two whole pineapples. And now the rest of this can be tossed, which is good, because then I'm not wasting space or worrying about it possibly sitting there till it goes bad. You know, I hate to waste food. I hate to waste space. I like to have things that are quick, easy, and delicious. And although this is not an instantaneous, quick thing, it will be quick when it's time for me to have that snack. Or if I want to make a dessert or something, I will have this in the winter. Or in a situation, if there ends up being another civil unrest or something happens and we're not able to get out to the store, sometimes, for me anyway, I have what I call a nervous nibble, where I will just desire to have something sweet. And pineapple is sweet, and it's natural, and it gives me energy, and I enjoy it. It's a nice treat. It's a nice treat if you have to go on a walk. I am kind of clumsy. If you're out and you're not able to get back home or to where there's food, you're not able to do that very quickly, it's nice to have a pineapple treat. It's nice for kids to have if they're kind of grumpy and groggy and hungry and you don't have time to stop at a store. Or if you've been through a number of situations like we've had recently this year, maybe you cannot access a store very easily. Pineapple is an easy treat to have on hand or in a mason jar or wherever you want to store it, shrink wrap it, to have to eat whenever you need something. Because everybody needs to eat at some point or other. And you know, there's times when I use pineapple juice to help in preserving foods that I'm trying to prepare. Like if I wanted to dehydrate some apples, I'd have the apple slices and I would either dip them in pineapple juice or I dip them in lemon juice. And it helps to keep the apples from turning brown when they're on the food dehydrator. So it's just a neat little trick that I'm able to do without any added chemicals or whatever. Keeping it all as natural as possible. Being as healthy as possible. Longer, stronger, healthier, more productive lives. Isn't that what we all want? It is for me anyway. I have multiple layers here. So, and I've already got the dehydrator turned on. You know, this is one of those where you just plug it up and the heat naturally rises from the bottom and comes up. And then I just have to be responsible to make sure that this setting is all the way open, because pineapples are full of so much moisture that when it's dehydrating, that moisture is going to have to go somewhere. If I had, I'll come a little closer. You see these holes up here for the dehydrating process? If I had those holes closed or mostly closed, then the heat would be in there and condensation would build up and the pineapple would get moldy, which would be a waste. And like I said, I don't like to waste food. You know, we're kind of at the nice calm part of the year. We've been through a whole lot of stuff. This is a good time to be prepared for the fall season, which is about to come upon us. We never know from day to day how things may change for us in the world. So it's just being prepared for situations is always a good idea. It doesn't mean that you have to have your home stacked to the ceiling with toilet paper or whatever. What I'm saying is that food is a basic need. Food and water are basic needs of everyone. So if you can make your life just a little bit simpler by dehydrating some fruits or vegetables, then why not do that? You remember, I don't know if you've saw my previous video when I dehydrated onions, and I had a lot of onions. Dehydrated those onions. I got enough onions to last me till probably December. And then lo and behold, then I came out with that food news, and because the FDA had the report of the food recall of onions. So if I hadn't dehydrated onions when I did, I might have been in a pretty pickle. But since I had done that so far, much further in advance of when that onion recall came out with the listeria, puts me in a good place as far as onions. And today, with that huge box of food that my neighbor brought up to me, there were lots of tomatoes. So guess what? After I'm done with the pineapple, it's going to be tomato time. Because I really don't like wasting tomatoes either. And sure, I could, put them in, I could always put them in a, cook them down and just put them in mason jars and do it that way. But I like dehydrating because it takes up less space and I can just take out exactly what I need, keep on moving. So I have that preference because of that. So, and then I'll still use some of those tomatoes and things because I really do need to get back to cooking. I stopped for a while because I was having some problems with my jaw and had to undergo a procedure, and so I was experiencing a lot of discomfort. But I'm doing better now, and I'm able to eat. And I tell you, it's not any fun cooking if you really can't enjoy your food. But I'm better now. So it's time to get back to cooking. So I apologize. It's been probably a couple of weeks, or close to a couple of weeks since I've done anything. But getting this box of food brought up to me today, that really motivates me to get back on point and get back busy, because the seasons are about to change. They're in that process, and we need to be ready for whatever's coming up, whether it be a holiday party, snacks for the road or for walking, or like I said, if anything else wacky comes up in the community, then at least you have some things, and you can take pride in the fact that, and I don't mean pride in a negative way, but I mean you can rest assured in the fact that you have prepared some things for yourself. And it's always good to be prepared. So I have one more rack to be filled. And then the rest of the pineapple, I would just cut up and I'll just put in a mason jar in the refrigerator, and I can have that as a snack tomorrow. But really, 2 pineapples go a long way. And even if I get in the mood for it, I could blend some pineapple with some apple and some other things, and I have a juicer, so I could always make juice to drink. I could make a smoothie. I have some blueberries in the freezer. It's good to have numerous options. And one of the reasons why I like the dehydrator is in case there's a power outage. If there's a power outage, how are you going to eat? What's going to happen with the food that you have in the refrigerator? No power means that refrigerator is not going to work. And I've been in those situations before, and it's not fun for the refrigerator to stop working, because then you're on a time clock, and eventually it's going to have to be eat it or toss it. And you can't just sit there and just gorge on everything that's in your refrigerator all at once. So if it's dehydrated, canned or in the cupboard some sort of way, then you know you at least have some options. And there are other cooking options when the power is out too. If you'd like to see a video on that, leave a note in the comments section. But I think I'm about done with all that I can do on this dehydrator because it is full of pineapple, which is good because it will be great to have as the seasons change. Because if it snows, if there's a snowstorm or thunderstorm or whatever, who wants to have to go out and all that just to get something to eat? If you prepare in advance, let that stuff dry out, then you're all set. So, I'm going to cut up the rest of this pineapple and put it in a jar, like I said. Put it in the refrigerator, and that'll be some sort of a snack or something for tomorrow. But it's a good time to be thinking about change because we're in a time where the seasons are changing. They're saying that there's a possibility that the Rona might come back on us stronger than before. We don't know if that's going to happen or not. All I can say is that we need to be prepared for whatever does come up. And being prepared does not mean being scared. It means being thoughtful, being mindful about what you're doing, and having a plan B in place if you need a plan B in place for what are you going to do as far as food? What are you going to do if your utilities get shut off or whatever situation comes upon you, or if your money gets funny, and I don't mean it as a joke, but if your money gets really tight and you're not able to manage your bills, and you have to decide, okay, am I going to get food or am I going to pay for my rent? Well, that's the time when you should be able to pay your rent and go to the food that you have stored so that you still have something to eat and you can meet your own needs and the needs of your family and your household. Well, it's late, and I apologize for making this so late, but very excited about having all this food. Thank you, Nikki and the girls, for bringing this up. And I will look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. And hopefully tomorrow we'll do some stir fry if you're interested. Thumbs up. Have a great night. Be safe. And tell those that you love that you do love them. Peace.